In both the survival horror movies, the theme is two girl besties looking for solo adventures getting into trouble. While Becky and Shiloh in The Fall are faced with isolation and have to battle the elements 2000 feet high up in the air to survive, Sophie and Kelly in The Ledge are faced with the challenge of getting away from their human predators while using their greater skill and knowledge of the forbidding terrain and tough wilderness to maneuver their way to safety. Do either one or both of them succeed in overcoming their adversity and make it out alive? Keep watching to find out. Looking for a challenge of a lifetime, two girl best friends, Becky Connor and Shiloh Hunter, decide to climb a 2000 feet high abandoned rusty transmission tower located in the middle of the desert. Being two characters in a horror thriller movie, they should have known that this is not a good idea and they should have both stayed home, sipping coffee and watching TV. But they don't. In fact, to make it more fun, they carry with them half-charged cell phones, a drone without extra batteries, and perhaps they never heard of a power bank. And to top it all off, they don't tell anyone where they are going, what time they are expected back, and to come looking for them if they don't return within a reasonable time period. Totally dedicated to maximizing their fun and rush of adrenaline, these two girls. But since they are both pretty girls and very cute ones at that, we will let it slide. Just look at them both. Once again, two girl best friends looking for an adventure go up the mountains, and to make sure their adrenaline quotient is off the charts, they decide to make friends with a newly arrived group of male friends who they know nothing about. Again, being two characters in a horror thriller movie, they should have steered clear of them and kept to themselves, but they don't. So Becky and Shiloh, to celebrate, mourn the death of Becky's fiancé and Shiloh's side piece a year earlier, decide to climb the rust bucket of a transmission tower which is creaking and moaning with rusted bolts and nuts, barely holding it together, and loose creaking ladders leading all the way to the top. The two girl besties climb it to the top to spread the ashes of their dead comrade. As they are doing that, a nut holding the ladder comes loose and the rusted ladder goes crashing down, leaving them stuck at the top and with now time ticking on when they would be joining their common paramour in the netherworld. Meantime, Sophie and Kelly postpone their planned trek by a day to spend the night by the campfire with their new group of male friends, drinking and exchanging stories. Kelly calls it a night and goes back to her cabin while Sophie decides to hang around for a while longer, and she gets accosted and killed by the biggest asshole in the group. Kelly, who has come back after hearing the weird noises, sees the group kill and dump Sophie's body off a cliff and records it on her camera. The group of assholes notice her and pursue her. Kelly flees the scene and races up the hills, hoping that her superior skills and knowledge of the terrain will help her survive. Now, both Becky and Shiloh on one hand and Kelly on the other are faced with a struggle for survival. To survive, the former have to climb down to safety and the latter has to climb up for safety. While Becky and Shiloh try frantically to make calls on their cell phones, send messages online, etc., nothing works. They wait till nightfall and use a flare gun to signal some men they see down below. But these men simply steal Shiloh's car and drive away. Meanwhile, Kelly decides that the best way to shake off her pursuers is by climbing the rock face to the top of a ledge, a similar platform high up in the air that Becky and Shiloh are trying to get down from. Shiloh climbs down to the dish below to retrieve the backpack with extra supplies, ties it to the rope, and Becky pulls up the rope only after a small scare. She retrieves the drone and sends it on its way to a nearby motel with a message seeking help, only for the drone to be struck by a truck while it's crossing the highway and is shattered. Kelly tries hard to escape her pursuers by climbing a sheer rock face with one of the assholes literally snapping at her heels. Becky, starving and delirious with thirst, wakes up and realizes that Shiloh had died while trying to retrieve the backpack and she has been hallucinating her friend all this time. Kelly also faces a setback pursuers find a shortcut to the ledge she's climbing up to and arrive there before her. Becky ties a rope around her and rappels down to the dish below where Shiloh's body lies. She then takes her cell phone, types a message, puts it in her dead friend's shoe and shoves the body down. Kelly takes shelter under the ledge while her pursuers try their best to kill her by rolling down weighted bags on her and climbing down one by one to get to her. She somehow manages to defeat all their attempts. Becky's message is received by her father, who alerts the emergency services, who rush in and rescue her from her open air confinement. Kelly meanwhile manages to outmaneuver her tormentors and manages to live another day. Both movies are chock-a-block with twists and turns and edge of the seat thrill moments, but their lower budget robs them of the shine that could have made them both even more spectacular as they could have been. But overall, a great watch. Do watch them if you find the time.